never thought I'd know the exact moment my marriage died. Yet, there it was, a text from my wife at 9:42 p.m., short, dismissive, and cutting straight through the heart I didn't realize I'd left so exposed. "Don't worry. I'll be fine." First, I tried to shrug it off. I had learned over the years that her shorthand messages, those casual bursts of reassurance, were often meaningless filler. But tonight, something about the tone made my chest tighten. The little gray bubble sat on my phone screen like a small, cold stone I couldn't swallow. I stared at it, my thumb hovering over the screen as if I could swipe it away, erase the unease gnawing at me. "Don't worry." 2 words. 2 words that somehow felt like a mockery. I didn't reply. Couldn't. I didn't want to be the nag. I had learned my lesson about nagging, about seeming controlling. I was the husband, not the jailer. But I could feel my stomach twisting, a mixture of dread and suspicion settling in like ice water in my veins. Earlier that evening, she had told me she was going out with some colleagues from her new project at work. "Casual night," she said, "just drinks and laughs." She kissed me goodbye, brief and perfunctory, already preoccupied with her phone, the small smile she gave me barely touching her eyes. And that was the thing. Her eyes. They had been distant lately, flickering away from mine when she thought I wasn't looking. I told myself I was imagining it. I wanted to believe she was just tired, just stressed from her new position. But now, sitting alone on our couch with the soft hum of the city outside, I felt the first crack in the foundation of trust I'd built our life on. I felt the doubt that had been whispering for months turn into a roar. I grabbed a notepad, the one I used for work ideas and grocery lists, and began to write, not as a letter to her, not as an accusation, but as a lifeline to myself. Something to solidify my feelings, to make sense of the chaos inside me. Hope that address was worth losing me. I scribbled in jagged, almost violent letters. I didn't leave it on her desk. I placed it on the dining table, where she would find it, where it would hit her like a splash of cold water. I wanted her to feel the weight of what she had done, or was about to do. I didn't know if she was betraying me yet, but the premonition was so strong, so visceral, that I could taste it in my mouth, metallic and bitter. I turned on the TV to distract myself, but every laugh track and every commercial made my chest tighter. I kept glancing at the clock. 10:15. 10:42. 11 o'clock. My mind refused to stop spinning, circling back to that note and her message. Then my phone buzzed. It wasn't her. It was a notification from the GPS app on my phone. Location ping. A place I had never seen before. A cozy little street lined with small restaurants and a boutique hotel. I hadn't given her permission to be here, or anywhere near it. My heart stuttered. I didn't know if I wanted to call her, confront her, or just drive there in silence and watch from the shadows. I felt like a voyeur, a detective in my own marriage, chasing a ghost that I feared might be real. I drove. I don't know why I didn't wait. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was desperation. Or maybe it was the quiet, unbearable knowledge that whatever I might find, I needed to see it with my own eyes. The streets were nearly empty, the city's hum replaced by the occasional car passing by, the faint hiss of tires on wet asphalt. And then I saw her. She was leaning against the side of the hotel, laughing at something I couldn't hear, a man beside her with his hand casually on her lower back. My chest felt like it was collapsing in on itself. Every rational thought I had tried to tell me it might be innocent, a colleague being friendly, a joke, nothing more. But I saw it. I saw the way her body turned toward him, how her hand lingered on his arm longer than it would on anyone else. I stepped back into the shadows, my hands shaking, my breath shallow. I didn't call. I didn't approach. I just watched. And then she looked up. Froze. She saw me. Her eyes widened, a flicker of recognition, or maybe guilt, and then she smiled. A smile that used to be reserved only for me. A smile that now felt like a dagger twisting in my gut. The man she was with noticed her looking, and he followed her gaze. I saw the surprise flash across his face, the recognition that I was here, witnessing this. And in that moment I realized something undeniable. My marriage, my trust, the life we had built was gone. I left before she could say anything. I couldn't face her, not yet. My mind was a storm of rage, betrayal, heartbreak, and disbelief. I drove aimlessly, past the city streets I knew like the back of my hand, through neighborhoods where our laughter used to echo in the night. By the time I returned home, it was past midnight. The apartment was dark, the note still on the table. I didn't even bother to read it again. I didn't need to. I knew what it said and I knew what it meant. I poured myself a drink, the amber liquid shaking in my hands as if it knew it was a poor substitute for the grief I was trying to drown. I sat at the edge of the couch, staring into the void, trying to make sense of a reality I couldn't accept. The next morning she returned. I was still sitting there, silent, the note in front of me like a monument to everything that had been broken overnight. She smiled as she walked in, casually, as if nothing had happened. "Morning," she said, voice light, almost cheerful. I didn't respond. I didn't look at her. Waited. And waited. Finally she noticed the note. Her expression shifted, the casual smile replaced by something else. Fear, guilt, maybe even defiance. "Is this?" she began. I held up my hand. "Don't," I said softly, almost painfully. "I saw everything." Her eyes widened. For a moment I thought I might see regret. But it didn't come. Instead she laughed. A nervous, hollow laugh. "You saw what? Come on, it's not like that." I wanted to scream. I wanted to hurl every emotion I had bottled up for months straight at her. But I didn't. I just sat there, letting the silence do what words never could. I don't understand," she said, trying again. "Why are you acting like this?" "Because I trusted you," I said, my voice breaking. "Because I built a life with you, believed in every word, every promise. And then I see you like that. With him. Smiling. Touching. Laughing." She shifted uncomfortably, but still no apology. Still no truth. Just the same casual indifference that had been creeping into our home for months, now laid bare. I stood up, trembling, fury and grief mingling into a storm I could no longer contain. "Do you even understand what you've done?" She opened her mouth to speak, but I cut her off. "No, don't. I don't want your excuses. I don't want your justification. I want you to understand that what I saw, what I felt, it's real. And it's over." Her face paled, and for a moment, I thought I saw a flicker of the woman I used to know. The one who loved me. But it was gone, buried under layers of selfishness and betrayal. Packed a bag that morning. Clothes, a few essentials. Memories too heavy to carry but impossible to leave behind entirely. I left a key on the counter, next to the note, my hand lingering over it like it was a relic of the life I was abandoning. When she finally said my name, I didn't turn around. I didn't look back. Couldn't. Left. The months that followed were hellish in a way I couldn't have anticipated. Every corner of the apartment held echoes of her laughter, her voice, her touch. Every place we had been together felt hollow, tainted by the knowledge of her betrayal. I cried in my car, in the shower, alone in bed. My grief a constant companion I couldn't escape. But there was also clarity. There was power in finally seeing the truth, however painful. I realized that love alone couldn't hold us together. Trust alone couldn't patch the gaping wound of indifference. And sometimes the bravest act is walking away. I didn't contact her again. I didn't beg. I didn't plead. I rebuilt myself quietly, painfully, piece by piece. I learned to sleep alone, to eat alone, to find joy in my own company. I discovered the subtle strength in silence, in absence, in letting go. And then one day I deleted the GPS app from my phone. Deleted the last digital thread tying me to the life she had abandoned. I didn't need to see where she was, what she was doing. I didn't need proof anymore. I had my own life back. Sometimes late at night I think about her. I imagine the smile she gave that man. The same smile she once reserved for me. And sometimes I even forgive her. Not for her but for me, so I can stop carrying the weight of her choices. But I will never forget. Not the sight of her leaning against that hotel wall. Not the casual cruelty of her text. Not the moment I realized the life I thought I had was a lie. Because in that moment I didn't just lose her. I lost the illusion. And in losing the illusion I found myself.